Good evening all and welcome to another video on All Hail the Ale. It's Friday night and it's the last Friday before Christmas, and that means it's the alcohol-free beer of the year 2023 as per the background on my screen right there behind me. So as has been tradition for the last couple of years, I like to do my countdowns at the end of the year and basically work out a top 10 list of the new alcohol-free beers that I've tried this year. So that's what I've done. It's been a bit of a challenging one, and the list you will see is dominated by a particular brewery. There's a solid reason for that, and it will become apparent when you see the beers. But this year, like I say, I found it particularly challenging to find my true top 10. So you will find at some point in this video there are 3 honourable mentions thrown in for good measure. And it's been a really good year for new alcohol-free beer. I've had stouts, I've had pales, I've had IPAs, I've had a bit of everything across the spectrum. Sours, it's been a great year for sours, although they've yet to feature in my top 10 because they're not my favourite style, but they are getting better and better as time goes by. So without further ado, we're going to start in position 10 today. And position 10, the brewery is Good Karma, and the beer is their Mantra Lager. This beer, it was a fairly recent one that I've sampled. It's really tasty, huge flavour, huge body, excellent beer, and not the only lager to appear in the top 10. This is definitely one of the ones that you should try if you haven't already, if you like a lager with lots of flavour and an excellent body. Anyway, so skipping on to number 9, it is Mashgang and Northern Monk with their self-titled. This beer made its way into Morrison's, and it was one of the first proper craft beers to appear in Morrison's. You've got the likes of Brullo in there, but this is the true craft. You've got Mashgang, Northern Monk, put together a nice fruity, sensible pale ale that just hits the spot. It's refreshing, it's summery, it's gorgeous, and the can, as you can see, it's awesome. You've got that beautiful kind of iridescent, reflective can art. Brilliant beer. And coming into position number 8 is this one. It's another lager, and it's Asahi Super Dry Alcohol Free. It's just wonderful. It's sensibly priced. I think it's about £4, £4.50 for a 4-pack in Tesco's. Tastes great. In my opinion, tastes better than the real Asahi. And yeah, it's just as authentic an experience as it can come. So if you haven't tried it, definitely do, because it'd be a shame to see it disappear off the shelves in Tesco's. And into number 7, we have Mashgang and the Garden and Brullo with Death. Death was an amazing Pilsner. It was a big collaboration brew. It had huge body. It had massive flavour. You can see that's the 3rd lager of sorts on the list this year. Sadly, like I say, it was a one-off brew, but I think with enough peer pressure, it might come back. It'd be lovely if it does, because it was just stunning. And could definitely do with getting more of that. Coming in at number 6, we have another Mashgang brew. It's another collaboration with Impossible, and it was Red Alert. This one had functional ingredients inside it, I believe, if I remember right. It was like that or caffeine in large quantities. I think it was caffeine actually. And but yeah, that was its USP. But for me, the selling point of this beer was the massive flavour, beautiful colour on it, and yeah, it was just a brilliant beer. It's nice to see that side of alcohol-free beer being represented at last. It's a darker beer, and more like a red ale. It was superb. Anyway, check out the link. The links will be up on all of the videos in the top corner, just so you can go and revisit, and they'll also be in the description down below. Anyway, coming in at number 6, we've got another Mashgang brew. It's Anxiety Saint. This one was a long time coming. Went through many rebrews to get it right, and that is testament to the craft that Mashgang put out there. It's a lovely coffee flavoured stout, and I took this one along to a tasting day I did at work. We had a bit of a work lunch, and I said, you know what, I'm going to provide some drinks. So I brought in a selection of alcohol-free beers, and Anxiety Saint was one of the ones that went down the best, because people just couldn't believe that an alcohol-free stout could taste that good. So yeah, so moving swiftly on, we have Nonya and the Humla. Again, another recent beer, but one that very much deserves to be on the list. It's big-bodied, big flavour, tropical as they come. It was absolutely superb. And yeah, definitely a top alcohol-free brewery is Nonya. Or Nonya O, should I say. I'll probably butchered the name. Anyway, check out the video above. And coming in again is another Mashgang beer. It's the Iced Tea Pale Ale. This one was stunning. It just had all the things to expect. Peach flavours. It had the maltiness of the tea, and it just had that Mashgang touch all over it. It was superb. And then coming in after that, we have another Mashgang beer. We've got the Stay Gold, the West Coast Pale. Everyone knows I love a good West Coast. I love them bitter and orange, and this was all of that. It just had beautiful body, beautiful carbonation. Everything about it was spot on. Again, check out the link above. And now, if memory serves me correctly, we come into our next beers, which is the honourable mentions before we go to number one. We've got the South Central. South Central is another West Coast. It's a fruited West Coast. I couldn't drink masses of it because it had grapefruit. So I had to be careful because it interacts with my meds. But otherwise, you know, beautiful flavour, beautiful body, had that sticky orange, it had the dankness, it was glorious. And then we have another Mashgang beer. It was the twin to Stay Gold. This one, Stay True, the East Coast Pale. Slightly fruitier, slightly more tropical than the West Coast version. But yeah, had to be included as an honourable mention. And bringing up the rear of the honourable mentions before we get to number one is this one. It is Rain in Blood. Again, this was another one that I took along to the tasting day at work with Anxiety Saint and a bunch of others. This one was equally well received as per the Anxiety Saint. You have the beautiful cherry kirsch stout and the chocolate and the cream. All the flavours were evident. The only thing that's missing is clearly the alcohol, and that's a great thing. It's great beer, great name, great song. And yeah, this one absolutely needs a rebrew. So Mashgang, if you're listening, yeah, get it rebrewed. So there were a lot of beers, but what one came out on top? Any one, to be honest, of the beers that have appeared on the list so far could easily have been a number one. But there was one beer that sung out above them all as the number one beer. Which one is it? It's this one. South of Heaven. Another Slayer-inspired beer from Mashgang. It was stunning. It just had so much flavour, so much body, and it just blew my mind. It's hitting a section of the market that just isn't covered, let's be honest. Yeah. Again, another one that absolutely must have a rebrew, please. And yeah, there we go. Stunning beer. Again, check out the link above to check out my initial thoughts on the beer from my original review earlier this year. So that was my top 10 beers of the year. What were yours? What was your number one? Is there anything on that list that you see is a bit controversial? Anything that you would have included in either my number one position or an honourable mention? Be good to know. And on that note, we're going to leave it there and say, those behind me were the beers. That is definitely my number one. I've been me. Those down there are the buttons. You know exactly what to do. You've got the like, comment, dislike, and subscribe. Choose any combination of them as you wish. And I will see you again soon for another one. Bye for now.